Welcome to the newest episode of the Intuitive Framework. And my name is Amy, and I'm here to talk about my illustration story based on my notes. But this was a story that really kept me going, especially during a time that definitely was a challenge of how people who are considered to be like professionals basically downplay you. And I'm not talking about like Simon Cowell style of, or you are like actually like not that great or you're delusional, but you think like you're the best and greatest. But this is a case that like me being in my craft for at least 10 plus years, this was something that I truly, truly, truly believed in, even though like there be like one or two naysayers, but I know based on like how my peers reacted, based on like people who I trusted their opinion, that my craft is actually really good. And in this case, it's more based on illustration. And it was kind of funny because I wasn't majored in illustration, but someone who studied in graphic design went into tech field just because I was like very interested at it at the time. But the one thing that I've always loved to still to this day is illustration, drawing, painting, just anything that can be done by hand. And this was a story of one single evening during my senior portfolio at FIT for graduation. So it's just a night where everyone at least gets some feedback from outside professionals into the school and give them feedback on their portfolio pieces. And I still was able to find it still to this day, but this book that I created by hand, binding, sewing, everything, was something that created a lot of controversy. So for those who are listening, this is my guide to Taiwanese Eats, and the illustration is hand-drawn watercolor with black fine liner and print. I scanned the illustration from watercolor paintings into computer so I could design it in InDesign. And those on video are lucky to see this. So if you want to see the video, you could go to the YouTube channel, which I'll put in the show notes to see more. I haven't seen this since 10 years ago and stuff. And looking at it now was great for someone who just graduated. I would say for someone who just graduates, it's something that he could see potential. And I know I sound biased for saying it, but definitely gotta show the people on video of it. So like, let me just start from the beginning. So it's like, I have my table of content showing the different Taiwanese eats. But this one has always caused some controversy, or at least some hiccups in my career. But looking at it now, I could see where some points can be improved. As someone who has practiced and continue working and advising students. But I think it's just the way it's said at the time, what it was like spoken back to me. I was definitely someone who was extremely stubborn. And I think the one thing is just maybe how it was spoken back to me. And it was a little rough. But I think now in this day of AI generated images, it's not the worst thing in the world because it's rough, but you could tell that someone who drew this did their best. The only thing I could do better looking back on it is to add more tones and like shading and shadow. But just remember, I was only like 21 at the time, and we did not spend a lot of time like improving our drawing skills because that wasn't the course was about. But I was so dedicated to like get this done. Very rough, but a lot of heart was put into it. Like bubble tea, shave ice, and yeah, I put a lot of time into this, drawing every single one and just like showing each page just to show everything. And this is just like the types of places you could eat and everything. And this is the cover. One thing that I definitely could say when I was drawing it is that people were questioning my design, especially that I wanted to put a dust cover on it. And if those who don't know what a dust cover is, it's basically like a little flap protector that people put over books. So instead of putting it on the cover over the books to be printed, you put like a little cover over it and then you have like a flap and stuff like that. And my design choice at the time was definitely inspired by someone who always go back to Taiwan and going to bookstore. Dust covers were part of the Asian culture. I would definitely say Asian culture because it also applies to other Asian countries, but more predominant in Taiwan. And my teacher who was teaching this course at the time, it was an InDesign course, and we were assigned to create our own pictures instead of just downloading. And I decided to create my own with drawing. She questioned about my dust cover design. And at the time, I wasn't so fully articulate and quick-witted of stating why I'm standing by this design. And pretty much she just discarded my reasoning, saying that it was very irrelevant. And yeah, she is not Asian herself, so she doesn't really fully get it. I don't really blame her for thinking that way, but I think to have an open mind of expressing what other cultures' way of reading and consuming the book should be considered, because especially like I want to provide a Taiwanese experience with it. The full main course is the senior portfolio night that I've experienced. I was the first one out of my entire cohort, just went up to a random stranger, this Indian woman, who is just sitting there waiting for students to come up to her and get reviewed. And the first thing she told me is that your illustrations are not good. And in my naive 21-year-old mind, I was like, what do you mean it's not good? And she stated in a way that's saying like, oh, I am much more qualified to explain this and you should listen to me, kind of a tone. Her explanation is that, oh, she is currently studying a master's in illustration. She has worked professionally in digital field. She has a lot of experience and so forth. And to be honest, I don't even know who this person is. And I don't know what her work looks like. And in my 21-year-old mind, I'm like, who is she to dare to criticize? And the worst part of it all, after she gave me like this full essay of explaining of how much my work is not great, not just my book that I created, but my UX design, is that she had the audacity to hand over her business card and said, oh, you should like apply at my workplace because you have a lot of potential. And in my mind, I was like, after you give me such bad feedback and saying I'm not really that good, you realize I'm an international student and you want to take advantage of my skills and put me down so I could take on low wages. To me, that was an extreme, like, non-negotiable. Why would I want to work with someone who put my own self-esteem down, at least at the first meeting? So it's like, what's the point? And just like that, I just didn't really like this person after she had the audacity to hand over to offer an interview. Not a job, but to do an interview. And that's not even a guarantee to have a job. To say like my work is basically not good, bad and stuff. And I basically blanked out and not realizing what it that she was trying to tell me. And just now, after being a teacher with high school students, first graders, and so forth, it made me realize that she could have said her feedback much more delicately, like a better word, like, oh, I really like your work. You have very great potential. However, I would highly suggest to put more practice into your shading, your work on your line work, give suggestions of how to do it, than just saying like, oh, your work looks bad. Because that's a difference between a good criticism and a bad criticism, is you acknowledge how much effort the person put into it, then you feedback. Because it puts the person's effort at least being acknowledged in this case. And looking back on it now, I can see where she's going, but the words could be said appropriately instead of just bashing for the sake of it. And my night after that one critique basically wasn't the best. And I wish that at least someone could have told me and let me know that your emotions are valid. However, this is someone who is a professional trying to tell you what's going on instead of just flaming out my emotions of, oh yeah, like she's wrong and everything like that. Try to remember that not everything is personal because she's just there. And even though she's not a professor, but this was just her professional opinion. And even after that incident, like maybe one day or 1 week later, graduating, and in my mind, I was like, what am I going to do? Because minus that one teacher who critiqued my design choices, I was like, pretty much everyone that I know loved this book that I created. I can't find what people said that I'm really good at. Not that I need praises all the time, but at least someone who could know that I have a potential to do something. Because pretty much everyone in my cohort, in my graduating class, got a job except for me. I'm an international student, so people are less likely going to hire over an American, which at least makes their hiring process much easier. I think this was just a sign at that time that I was meant to go through these challenges, these feedback, these critiques, and also not able to find a job because I was meant to do something much bigger, as cliche as it sounds. Because I definitely had like difficulties to set a job down and really feel like, oh, this is like something I was meant to do. And funny enough, I still continue to practice my illustrations, which I think the woman should have advised me, just like, oh, you have to just keep practicing, learn, refine your techniques and stuff. But all I just heard was your illustration skills are bad. And in the end, I think what's the best solution is to just keep going, regardless of how other people may view badly of me. And funny enough, like in the end, like 1 year later, more or less, I had an opportunity to interview for an internship at this famous designer. His name is Tobias von Schneider, and get a 3-month internship working under him, and was able to put my illustration skills to use, which ended up becoming a huge asset to coming up with ideas and so forth. But even though I don't want to be a full-time illustrator, after graduating from my master's and everything and working in tech and stuff, I still want to use my illustration skills as an asset into realizing my content creation, because it's through my content creation and through my own work I'm able to express myself fully as an artist and as a designer and in my own creative direction. Because at least something of my style, I cannot be really conformed to the mainstream. And this is something that I always wanted to capitalize, at least for my work. And this is why when I started my Substack, which if you're very keen to go into Substack, it's cosmiccurator.substack.com. And all of my covers still to this day are all hand-drawn by me in Procreate with videos and trying to create my own art. But that type of work doesn't really suit me because it's something that I can't really carry on like with the tech grind, like the social media grind of it all. So then collectively using my skills to at least create content, Substack covers, or even for YouTube thumbnails and so forth, that was the biggest suitable asset I could use. Same with using my graphic design skills to design reports for the consultancy and do the layouts in my newsletter and into my video editing. That's everything come together as an asset. Just to sum it up, even if someone critiques you, it creates a little fire under you to go forward. So this gave me the fuel and the flame to, not in the best mindset, to like prove people wrong, be like, yes, I am a good illustrator and I can show you. And this is definitely like my Aries placement, just being like, I'm going to like do it. regardless of what you say to me. And I could definitely say it really improved my skills. It actually made me become like a really good teacher and understanding where everything comes from. I hope you enjoy this episode and may not be as structured as it used to be, but this was something that I really want to share to everyone. Thank you again. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week and see you next Wednesday. Bye.